Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you part 10 of the Legion playlist. This time we are going to go for the 1000 Suns. This paint scheme is of course quite different to any of the other Legions, as it is more of a kind of a candy apple red color scheme. They have a very kind of bright red metallic scheme, and it was a lot of fun trying to get that across for you guys. This was kind of an experiment. I didn't really know how this was going to turn out until I got to the very end, but I am quite pleased with the results, as I hope you will be as well. So sit back guys and enjoy the video. Okay, it's time for the 1000 Suns. Now this is obviously quite a different color scheme to most other Legions, so we're going to go a slightly different route. So if you noticed, I've sprayed the model with Retributor Armour Gold. Unfortunately, spray metallics tend to be quite hydrophobic, so for the next stage when I use contrast, it doesn't stick very well to that. So I am going back and giving it kind of a rough stipple with Retributor Armour Gold again with a brush. If you don't want to, of course, spend money and buy yourself a can of Retributor Armour Gold, although if you're doing a Legion's worth of miniatures for Horse Heresy, it can save you a lot of time. But if you do not want to do that, a couple of models or just a squad, then hand painting in the gold is absolutely fine. Just 2 quick coats of Retributor Armour Gold, quite rough, to give something for the contrast to grip onto. Next, we're going to jump over to the contrast of Blood Angels Red. We are going to apply this to the entire armor of the miniature. It goes on absolutely beautifully. It does actually immediately turn that beautiful kind of candy apple red color that you would expect 1000 Suns to be. A really cool fun fact about this technique: if you're doing 40k 1000 Suns, you simply substitute the Blood Angel Red contrast for Talassar Blue contrast, and boom, it'll do exactly the same thing. It'll look fantastic. But we're sticking to the Heresy for this particular playlist, so we're going to focus on their shiny red Horse Heresy style scheme. So like I said, we go in with the Blood Angel contrast and aim for all of the armor panels. I think the only thing I didn't touch was the gun and the shoulder trim, although I did accidentally hit them a little bit, but we're going to tidy those up before we go on to the next step. So just take your time, don't miss any bits, and make sure it doesn't pull too heavily in any one part, because this is something that we're not really going to be layering up later on. We're going to add a shade to it later, but we're not going to be going in with a brush and another paint and painting up all the panels. This is actually a really fast color scheme, which is fantastic. But yeah, you don't want any pooling, because that will show up in your scheme later on. So we're going to go back to the Retributor Armour Gold now. We're going to tidy up the shoulder trim where we accidentally hit with some of the red, which is totally fine. And then like the video 9 that I did with the Space Wolves, these guys are adorned with quite a lot of gold. So I'm actually going to go in and do all of the different armor panel trims on this miniature gold as well. I just think it'll make the miniature pop as a whole and stand out as that slightly more ostentatious scheme that some of the Legions have. Some are quite militaristic and quite simple and plain, and then others kind of play into their role of like demigods and stuff, and they definitely don't mind a little bit of bling strapped to their armor. When it's all applied, this is the amount of gold that I've gone for. I've even gone for the vents on the back of his power pack, which I think looks pretty cool. We're then going to go into the traditional Leadbelcher, and we're just going to tidy up some of the other parts of the miniature, mostly the bolt gun parts and the piping on the back. If you've been following along with this entire playlist and you're on the 10th video with me, I'm sure you're absolutely sick and tired of seeing me paint bolt guns this way. I'm just trying to keep bolt guns in the 30k kind of standardized, which is what I imagine they would be. Wouldn't be a lot of personal flares to them. Each Legion would just get crates of bolt guns, ship to them from Mars, and would crack them open and start fighting. So with all of these bits and pieces applied, oh sorry, I forgot, I almost missed out on the bolt gun casing, which in previous videos we used contrast black for that, but I don't think that would go over the gold the way I would want it to. So we are going to go with a traditional Abaddon Black and just block in the casing for the bolt gun. Quick and easy step, but it will break up all the red and gold quite nicely. And with that, that is all the base coats done. Now we're going to move over and shade the entire miniature with Carroburg Crimson. So that is the red shade from Citadel. It is going to go on and shade all of the red parts really nicely. It's still going to leave that nice red metallic look to the armor. It's just going to be a little bit deeper, a little bit pushed towards the kind of darker tones, which is where I think 1000 Suns sit better. You can see from leg to leg the difference and how much shaded it looks. It will look fantastic going over the gold and the silver, all those bits and pieces, don't worry about that. So here's an example of it going over a completed shoulder pad. Once you make sure it doesn't pull, so I'll pull it away from the top so there's not too much there. And yeah, it looks great. So I'm going to wait for this shade to dry and get the miniature based, and then we'll continue painting. Okay guys, while we wait for the shade to dry and I'm going to get that miniature based up, I just want to thank you guys for the continued support for me and the Mediocre Hobbies channel. If you're enjoying the video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you could do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button as well, that would be fantastic. Only about 25% of the people that watch my videos are actually subscribed, so it would mean a lot to me if the rest of you guys hit that button and bump my numbers right up. If you have any questions about this or any other part of this video, make sure you put it in the comments below and I'll get back to each and every one of you guys. And if you want to support me and the channel even further, there are links to things like my Patreon below. Thank you guys so much, and let's get back to painting. Okay, now with the miniature dry and the base done, we are at this stage. I personally think this looks fantastic, and I didn't want to mess around with the armor too much after this, so what I decided to do is just go for a really light Leadbelcher dry brush across most of the miniature. In fact, pretty much all of the miniature. This is just going to add a few cheeky kind of edge highlights to the armor, make it look like you put in a lot of effort when in fact you have not, and you want to catch the gold with this as well. Any of those bits and pieces. Like I said, finding the edges of the armor and just catching them with the brush will make all the difference. It's a very quick step. Like I said, this is actually this may be one of the quickest schemes for the Horus Heresy Legion series so far. I love how this looks. Next, we're going to go back to Leadbelcher again, but this time we're going to be using a brush and not a dry brush. And we're going to be touching up all those metallic parts on the bolt gun and piping out of his power pack. Obviously the dry brush isn't enough to kind of catch those areas and make it stand out as these clean kind of parts, if you know what I mean. So going in quickly with a brush it will make all the difference. At this stage as well, I also paint in the eye lenses of the helmet with silver so that I can come in and attack them with contrast in a minute. And make them look like the glowy eye lenses that they are. So Talassar Blue comes in and we just put a nice little don't dollop, I'm only joking, just a very thin coat of Talassar Blue into both of the eye lens sockets, and it will give the appearance of glowing blue eyes, which suits the Thousand Sun quite well. We've also thrown a transfer on. I know it's not the correct transfer, but I didn't have any Heresy or Thousand Suns transfers, so I went for a 30k one. I apologize for that, but I just wanted to throw an extra little bit of touch to the miniature. And with that, we have our finished Thousand Suns Legionnaire ready to step out onto the battlefield with all of his brothers. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell button for all future notifications on Heresy content. Thank you guys for watching to the end, and I will see you guys in the next video.